Hello, I'm Armando Abrahams from Team Gentle Wraith, and this is my sprint review on our game Cryptic Ventures. So the change list number is 965320. Go ahead and open that up. Okay, so I'm just going to start with my level. We'll start with the first. As a wolf death animation, I want to be called when the wolf's health is less than or equal to 0. So here we're going to go kill a wolf, and then we'll see him do a death animation and perish. There he kind of does a ragdoll effect, and then rolls around a bit, and then he dies. As an NPC guard, I want to activate a death animation when my health is less than or equal to 0, so the player knows I am dead. So the player does a ragdoll effect, or the NPC does a ragdoll effect, and then falls down, he's on the ground, and then he goes away. As a reload tutorial, I want the player to be taught how to reload so they are aware of the mechanic and the key mapping. So the way I set it up is when you get to 0, it'll tell you to press X for reload weapon. So then now you know to press X for reload. And the same thing works on the controller. If it were an Xbox controller, the X does the reload. As a shooting tutorial, I want to teach the player how to shoot their weapons they are spawned with, so the player can use them in future confrontations. So here we have a video that appears when you walk into it, and it does two things. It tells you how to, or three things. It tells you how to draw the pistols, how to fire, and how to toggle the reticle. And it also shows a little video of how it's done. The actions of holstering and unholstering, and showing the reticle and not. Okay. As a climb tutorial, I want to teach the player how to climb before they get into a situation that requires the player to climb, so the player knows what key to press to climb. So before we enter this tomb, we get a tutorial, a little video that shows us how to climb. It shows us that wooden legends can be climbed and that guns must be holstered to climb. A simple jump will do the climb. There was no other input needed for the climb, and there we go. So before you get into a situation like this, the tutorial is available to show you how to climb. In Vera's Coach's Tomb as a level, I want to change out assets to give it a better feel and make it feel more real. So as you can see, I swapped out about 90% of the assets that I've placed with other assets from the marketplace or stuff that I've created to give it a better feel, replacing such thing as doors with a nicer door, and beams with actual wooden beams. Actually gives the whole level such more life. And with these ready pillars, simple swap out really does make the game that much more realistic. So as a Uzi reload animation, I want to give the player feedback that I'm reloading so the player knows what's happening at all times. So when I fire my Uzis and I hit reload, it does an animation and it does a sound, so you know that you are reloading at that time. As a hit sound, I want the player to hear when damage is being taken and given, or when death occurs, so the player can have some feedback when hurting or killing an enemy. So if I do take damage with these spikes, I make a grunt noise. The bear had a few bugs. With the new static mesh bear, or the new asset bear that we were given from our art team, I was able to get the health to work again. So the health bar displays on the bear, and also the bear also attacks now. They do damage when they run into you. As a hazard system, in the levels if you're closest to them, I want to give the player a challenge in the cave to prevent thieves. So by adding more spikes like this, like some time spikes that were showcased in other levels, we do two things. We give the player a harder time to progress, and we also start introducing IPM for the movable spikes. As background music, I want to set the mood so the player feels scared and pressured as they play the game. The game has various background noises, but it also has a overall score, overall ambient music that happens in the back. It will start out slow, but as the game progresses, the level progresses, it would eventually become more and more aggressive and even startling, because as you progress through this level, you start out in a very slow and docile environment. Maybe you have one wolf, but just to show the danger. But as this level and the song progresses, you start to feel more and more pressure from the overwhelming challenges that occur, from the wolves to the spikes and all the other danger. As you can see, the music is getting a little more intense right now, the deeper we are in the level. So now we have the AR, and as an assault rifle mesh, I want to be futuristic and work well with firing so the player has an immersive experience. So I had to create multiple blend spaces to work with the controller, with the player. So when they move around, it will move with them. So as they aim, so you can see the red dot right there, it will follow them, the target, the reticle as well. Since you were following the reticle is where the ammo the bullet goes, the red dot is where you're looking. And so the mesh is a futuristic assault rifle that is plasma powered. So when we fire it, we get some good plasma coming out of there with some various particle effects to give the player more of an immersive experience. And I also have the player animation blending in with the movement, so they can walk with the gun and they can also run with the gun. And they could, when they shoot, there's a shoot animation. The gun does a recoil effect. They can look up and down. They could crouch with the gun. They could even do target lock with the rifle, and it will blend with their current position, or with their movement and everything. So we come down here to some more enemies, and we can do a target lock, and it does a animation that blends with your movement. And when you shoot, you could shoot in any direction you want, and the animation will blend with the shooting. And then there is also a reload animation for the AR, and also a storage animation. Draw on it, and the HUD does go away. It goes away when you holster it, and it comes back when you draw it. Here's all the loot that we're being given from all these wolves. As crosshairs, I want to come up when the weapons are drawn and go away when the weapons are holstered. So we draw our Uzis here, and we have a crosshair. We draw our AR, and here we have crosshairs again, and then we can holster it, and it goes away. Same thing with the pistols. Get some health here. And these health drops and weapon drops are based on pickup, so you don't have to, based on interaction running over them, you don't need to press any keys to pick them up. You just walk across them, and the ammo is instantly added to both of your secondary weapons. You can pick up secondary ammo, or you can pick up, basically secondary ammo just goes to both weapons, and your health immediately heals the player. There was a bug where if you press pause and you go into, say, another page, and you press pause again. So now I'm trying to move. You can't move. And if you press pause right here, you would resume the game, and the other menus wouldn't go back. So we're able to fix that error very well. Also with the gamepad. So by pressing start or escape or pause, it closes every single thing out. No matter where you're at, you just press one button and you're out. As opposed to before, it was playing the game even after with the pause menu overlay, because you were pausing the game without closing the menu, or you were unpausing the game without closing the menu first. So we just had to check to where when you press the button, it closes all the menus, no matter what. It goes through the hierarchy of what's open, because you would only get here by opening these other menus. So by pressing just one button, you're able to go close everything out at once instead of having to go back multiple times, or in case the player doesn't know that and accidentally presses start, the game will resume and they won't be able to see anything, and they could lose or die. There was a bug about opening a door. When you open the door, it prevents player from picking anything up. So in order to open the door, we're going to have to pick up this key, so then we can open that door. But then we're going to try attempt to pick up this med pack on the ground. This med pack on the ground right here. So we're going to open the door, and there was some code that prevented the player from ever interacting with something again. Because the code said to stop picking stuff up. So we're able to pick something up, and we see it in our inventory, and we're even able to use it still. And doors still work. I just had to remove the ability to open and close the door. The problem was I tried to remove the widget, and by removing the widget, I didn't allow it to open anything, actually, because all of these interacts are tied together. So by simply leaving the widget available and stopping the door from closing, I was able to fix that bug. As a lighthouse, I want to fill the empty rooms as intended. It should look like a functional prison lighthouse to give it a little more affordance. So by adding new assets into it, and adding some sturdier gates and sealing the windows up, and basically making it shut. It's closed in the front. You cannot get inside of it like a real prison. I gave it the more of a prison feel than it had before. By adding all these new static meshes, these new assets, I was able to give it more of a feel of somewhere where you should not enter. We have a lot of graffiti. Is a very sign of rebellion that happens a lot in prisons. It is an abandoned. So we have all these new assets here to give the game a real good feel. And by adding the background music, a different background music to each level, is able to give a very good mood to the game. And the music sings very well with the immersion the player gets while playing this game, and I'm very proud of how it all came together. So here we'll just drop into a room real quick, and we'll see that we have a fully functional bathroom. We have a full bathroom here with mirror, trash can, functional doors, little pickups inside the rooms, inside the bathroom stalls. And plenty more assets than that. We have also added some beds here, and a animated foot trunk that opens upon activation. And adding better meshes and just overall material really gave this level so much more life than it had before. It was very plain, but by adding small things like bulbs and different nice doors, fire extinguishers, lounge areas for the player, we're able to give a real feel for what it's like to be in a prison, or what it would entail to run a prison essentially, or a lighthouse, if anything. We have offices here. These are locked, so you need to find the key. And all these offices have different assets available. And just to give it a real vibe, you know, like this is like people work here. You know, this is an actual place of business. It's not just a level that doesn't really have any reason to be here. It has affordance. We also have a kitchen, because every house, building, place needs a kitchen and a bathroom, bedrooms. Here we have a kitchen, fully available, fully furnished. At one point there was a bug with the drone. The drone would not explode upon death. So by adding some delays and checks, basically we were able to check if the enemy was below a certain health, and when they were, they would kamikaze. Basically, they would light on fire, and then beeline to you to explode. Which we use the explosion as a sort of a last-minute defense mechanism. So if we shoot them one time, it activates their explosive. They start to catch on fire like a car would if they were on their last limb, or a robot. So their health is very low, and their last result is to basically try to take you out with them. And that was the fix for having them explode on death and on contact. There was a bug with the ammo, essentially not going away. Essentially the ammo not going away in the inventory when you would reload. Before, we had an ammo system that worked with the inventory, so you would pick up ammo, say in loot chest like this, and then you would have it in your inventory. And then the goal was to have you be able to like click on it and use it as you clicked on it. But the way it worked, because the guns are not always on you, it was not able to be worked into the inventory system. There's an inventory query system. So what I ended up doing to remedy this, was I created a loot drop system. So upon killing an enemy, you will receive either ammo for your secondary ammo, because your primary ammo is unlimited. Essentially, it's a plasma rifle, so it's your primary, so you don't need to worry about running out of primary ammo, which we thought was very important, because if the player, say, cannot find any secondary ammo, they have their backup pistols always. The way it works is, if you haven't picked up an Uzi, or an AR, you won't be able to pick up any secondary ammo, because there's nothing to give to you. But if you have the Uzis holstered or even equipped, as long as you have them picked up, you could pick up the ammo. And that was able to solve the issue with the ammo not going away in your inventory, because it was causing the player to be confused. They would not be able to reload, even though they had ammo in their inventory, but they had already used it. It just had disappeared. This way, it's easier for the player to pick up ammo as they play, to give the game a bit of a speedier approach, so the player doesn't need to stop and pick up ammo or find ammo, and ammo would always be available as long as there are enemies. So if you need to destroy an enemy, you can use your pistols and then get ammo to help you later on for harder enemies. The health works in a similar way. You will not be able to pick it up if your health is full. The control screen was also another issue that we had. We had a lot of controls that were not updated in the current one. So we added a scroll box to better display all the controls available, and by also displaying the gamepad input, we were able to easily map easily show where the buttons have been mapped. And this works for both menus. For controls, we have controls. As a gamepad, I want to work with all the menus and the player. All the menu the player comes across while playing the game, so the game can be played across various consoles. So right now, currently, I'm using just a gamepad. So if when I press start, I will activate the gamepad mode. With the colors will change when you activate the gamepad, as opposed to just using the pause button. So if I use the P on my keyboard, it's a different color to show that it's a different input for this reasons. So go back to the gamepad, and you could use everything here. Whatever is available, you can select, and you can go into controls and even have a gamepad layout that will show you all the whole button layout there. This works for both Xbox and PlayStation. The layout is exactly the same, as the PlayStation and Xbox have very similar layout. The only difference is the button face. So we can just press B and go back, and then press B again, and then back up again. And we could use it to restart the level select. Or to level select, I could select all these levels, and it will highlight where I want to go. I can just go back, and I could even quit. And resume. Or restart level. And also, as gamepad inputs, I want the player to be able to play the game and use all the different mechanics available in the keyboard and mouse, so more players can play our game. So right now, again, I am playing with the gamepad, and I was able to close out of that menu by just pressing B. I can target lock, draw my weapons, turn on the flashlight, teleport, jump. Everything that you are able to do in the game is able to be done on the gamepad. Everything is available. Yeah. Crouch. Sprint. Double bomb. Awesome. Thank you very much. That was my sprint review for Gentle Wraith. My name is Armando Abrahams. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.